Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be just dealing with a small topic where we'll be focusing on how to understand the major parts of the heart, the structure of heart, understanding the terminologies, recollecting it, and how to get very good grades for exams. Here we go. Alright. To get a clear cut picture of the heart, I would like to picturize it in a very systematic and a very different kind of diagram. But remember, this diagram is not going to work for exams, but this is just to understand the concept of heart. Here we go. The heart can be, picturized by a very simple box-like diagram. Okay, and this diagram, let's imagine this box is heart. Let's divide the box into four parts. Okay, and the heart is having four chambers. Hope you're following it. Now, these chambers have given a particular name. Let's try to understand what is that. The uppermost chambers are called auricle and the bottom are called ventricle. So listen, here comes some people having a doubt to remember these terms. They make it upside down. So to understand that, upper one is called auricle. Auricle, the A points up, the vertex of the A is pointing up and the ventricles V pointing down. So just looking at the point itself, we can understand A is above, V is above. And so this is auricle, this is auricle, this is ventricle, ventricle. Auricle is also called as atrium. It's also called as atrium. So by the way, all the ways we can get the same, the letter there, and ventricle for the bottom. Now let's go for the second concept. All right, hope it's clear to you. The second concept is the left and right side. Okay, when you look like this, you feel this is your right, but okay, now look at me. When I turn to you and talk, this is my left. So the book always presents the left side to you, and this is the left part. Remember, when you look at the book, your right is actually the left of the book. And here we go. This is the left side, this is the left side, this is the right side, this is of course the right side. And the upper one is called atrium, ventricle, ventricle. So we have four chambers for the heart, and basically they are left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, and right ventricle. By the way, is this just like that, the box closed? No, these atriums and these ventricles have to be connected. So I'm just going to make an opening here, a door. Yes, I'm going to make a door here also, and they're not doors, they're basically called as the valves of heart. So on the left side we have valves, on the right side we have valves. All right, so by the way, the valve on the left side, this valve is called as bicuspid valve. All right, but then the valve on the right side is called tricuspid valve. Okay, guys, basically a problem happens with everyone is they just turn these names and write opposite. Let me give you a very simple technique to remember that. What's it? Here we go. Tricuspid means what? In this, we are just taking, the right side. No, this is the right side. So just if you write the word right side, R-I-G-H-T, right side, the T you put over here, you can read it as tri, isn't it? So from the word right side itself, we can remember tricuspid valve is going to be on the right side. Hope that's clear to you. All right, now let's get into the next portion. By the way, the bicuspid valve can be also called as mitral valve, M-I-T-R-A-L, mitral valve. Basically, what is valve? Valves are nothing but they are the doors which can open only one side. That means these valves will open only one side, will allow the blood to flow from the auricle to ventricle and never from ventricle to auricle. That's the point to keep in mind. Let's continue. Okay, if heart is like this, just locked like this, okay, it's not going to work, of course. What we're going to do is we're going to make some openings for the blood vessels to bring blood, to take blood away from the heart, to bring blood to the heart like that. So here you can notice that I've made two blood vessels on the left atrium, and right atrium too. And for the ventricle, I'm going to draw one set over here. But remember, this is just a concept. the heart does not open to the side. Actually, the blood vessels goes all the way to the upper part of the heart through that. Okay, so don't think like from the side of the heart there's no opening for the blood to travel. I'm sorry for that. Let's get it back to the topic. Okay, so what's it next? So these are the blood vessels which are just bringing blood to the left area, and these are the blood vessels bringing to right area. These are the blood vessels taken out. So let me draw the arrow showing they take out, and this showing the bring. So here they bring and they take out. So hope this is very clear from that concept. Now let's continue. You know, whenever we talk about, you know, the stuff's happening in our life, good or bad, always good things we always designate our right side. Do something good, date with your right hand and everything like that. But you know, when we look about the structure of heart, the good part of the heart, I mean not good part, this is just a way of understanding the purest part of the heart, the part of the heart having pure blood, I mean oxygenated blood. The heart with oxygenated blood is called the pure blood, I mean in this topic. So the left side of the heart has what? Oxygenated blood. Look, in our daily life we use right hand for all what good steps, and you know what we use left hand for. But in heart, the better, the best, I mean the good oxygenated good blood is found on the left side. And okay, blood, as you know, it is red in color. I would like to give some red dots showing that this is the blood, and the blood with oxygen is always red, and that is why the left side is oxygenated blood. I would like to name it as oxygenated blood. All right, now when we look about the right side, we are going to see only what carbon dioxide containing blood. So all right, here I would like to color it with some blue tint, just showing it's carbon dioxide containing deoxygenated blood, or carbon dioxide containing blood. Okay, technically we call it as deoxygenated. So it's very clear from the concept that this side has oxygen and this side doesn't have oxygen. So from there we have to climb more into the topic. Let's see from where this side got oxygen. Use some common sense. Left side got oxygen. From where? Oxygen comes from the lungs. So this brings blood from the lungs, and anything related with the lungs we use the word pulmonary. So let's use this one as the pulmonary. Okay, the word we can use there, pulmonary. But at the same time, keep in mind, this is the blood vessel coming from lungs, and it's bringing oxygenated blood. By the way, you guys, you know, the pure blood, oxygenated blood is always carried by arteries. But only in this particular case, the name goes to vein. I repeat it. So in the left side, the pulmonary veins brings what? The pulmonary veins bring blood to the left atrium from the lungs. So these two are called pulmonary veins. Do not confuse it as artery, even though it is bringing pure blood. Pulmonary vein. All right, there are a pair of pulmonary vein you can see here. And let's get to the right side. And of course, this is bringing blood, you know, in deoxygenated blood. From where it might be coming? Blood went everywhere, and just blood gave oxygen to the tissues, and blood returned with the carbon dioxide in it. And of course, that blood is deoxygenated, means it's coming from the upper part of the body, lower part of the, let's imagine here is the heart, upper part of the heart and lower part of the heart. The lower part of the heart, the blood travels and reaches to the heart through a blood vessel called inferior vena cava, whereas from the upper part of the heart body, the blood vessel bringing to the heart, the impure blood, is called superior. Okay, you can understand why superior, why inferior. All right, so here we go. This is called superior vena cava, the upper one. Sorry, one second. All right, so let's go. What's it called? This upper one is called superior vena cava, and the bottom one is called inferior vena cava. So inferior is bringing from the bottom side of the heart, and superior is bringing from the upper, means the head and the shoulder, everything. All right. Okay, so this is about the entry of blood. Now what about the exit of blood? The blood is poured out through two major blood vessels, one on the left ventricle, one on the right ventricle. And okay, the left ventricle is supposed to take the blood from here throughout the body, because it's oxygenated blood. It should go throughout the body. Complete oxygen should reach everywhere. That means the blood should reach throughout the body, means the heart should beat so tight, and so much of hard work has to be done with the left ventricle, guys. That's why let me draw the wall of heart, and it goes like this. When you draw the wall of heart, you must notice the difference here. I'm just drawing it so thick here, whereas first of all, please, I'm just drawing it so thin. That means this part, left ventricle, is the thickest part of the heart. Why? Because it has to pump the blood throughout. Now you'll be thinking, basically, why not right ventricle? Right ventricle has, deoxygenated blood, means blood with carbon dioxide that cannot be pumped through the body. Rather, it should go to where? It should go to the lungs. Look here. Here is our heart, and here is your lungs. So from the heart to lungs, how much distance? It's so simple. Just little pressure will do for what? Bringing the blood to the lungs. And that's why there is no thickness on these, heart walls there. By the way, here we go. Left and right side is what? Separated by a line. You must have noticed that line. And that line is called, this line is called septum. It's called septum. Okay, it separates the left and right part of the heart. And there is no basic line like this. Rather, it's what? Two different kinds of what? Valves are there. This valve is also almost around here only, because the blood vessel goes up like this, and that I'll be telling you exactly in the next video. All right, so right now let's get a concept from this one. This is having, right ventricle is having a valve, left ventricle is also having a valve. Let's talk about that. The entry of the, not right ventricle, I'm sorry, these two blood vessels, are having a valve. Let us check about that. This blood vessel, which starts from left ventricle, taking the blood throughout the body, is called as aorta. Okay, aorta. And this blood vessel is taking it to what? Taking it to our lungs, and so we could call it as pulmonary. Okay, as this is vein, we're going to write it as artery. Remember, pulmonary artery, even though the name is artery, it carries what kind of blood? Impure blood. Impure blood. That's a very important point. You have to keep it. Let's continue now. So in this aorta, at the entry of aorta, this at the particular point, there is a valve, and actually this aorta goes all the way like this, through the center of through the septum of the heart, and the valve falls here. Okay, can you imagine this tube goes this way? And remember, that is the topic for the next video, and later on I'll tell you, in that video I'll tell you exactly how to draw the structure of heart. So let's continue. The aorta takes the blood outside like this, that's the pure blood, and the pulmonary artery taking the blood outside like this to the lungs, and that's impure blood. Okay, so basically the structure is almost getting over. So pulmonary artery is also having same kind of valve like aorta, and this valve and this valve look like half the size of a moon, and basically its name, this as well as this. Okay, both are having same name, so let me write down, that is SLV. It's called SLV. Here is also SLV. What's basically SLV? Semi-lunar valve. Okay, so what is semi-lunar means? Semi means half, lunar means moon, half moon like. By the way, remember guys, valves will allow the blood to flow only in one direction. Here, left ventricle push this way, will not allow to bring it back. Right ventricle will push this way through the pulmonary artery, will not allow it to come back. All right, that's a very important point to keep in mind. Now let's understand how the blood is circulating, and you must have heard the circulation is called double circulation. Why is it like that? Here we go. The blood coming from the lungs are just pouring into the left atrium. All right, but the left atrium pushes the blood to the left ventricle through the bicuspid valve. When the atrium is filled, it pushes the blood to the left ventricle through the bicuspid valve. And then same time simultaneously, the blood from the various parts of the body, the impure blood reaches the right atrium through superior and inferior vena cava. So both of them fill simultaneously, and once both of them filled, they just give a pressure. The heart undergoes the contraction, and this valves open and the blood slowly start what, you know, flowing down. And once the flowing is maximum, the contractions is maximum, and the blood reaches here. All right. Now the left and right ventricle want to, auricle want to slowly what, just want to come back to the rest. Meanwhile, the blood which is here, which is high pressure, will try to return to the auricle, and that's not allowed. The valve will basically close. This right and left side valves will close. I mean the bicuspid and tricuspid valve will close, will not allow the blood to return. Okay, while they close, these two valves close together with a sound, the heart sound, that is a sound made by heart, lub. Okay, that sound is lub. Basically, sound is lub. Let's continue. The blood now reached left ventricle and right ventricle. All right, from the ventricle, now the ventricle undergoes a contraction and pushes the blood through aorta and pulmonary artery. Okay, so while it's been pushed through aorta and pulmonary artery, what happens, the blood will be trying to go out this way, and that time the ventricle will try to relax. Meanwhile, the blood has a tendency to return, and to block that, this semilunar valves are there, they will close. Remember, valves are doors which allow blood to flow only one direction. All right, so the semilunar valves will close and the blood cannot flow back, and the semilunar valves close with a sound dub. Okay, so that is the basic heart sound, lub dub, lub dub. All right, now what happens where this blood is traveling? Let's get into the point. Aorta take it below the body, above the body. Okay, below the body means below the heart level, above the heart level. It gives every tissues the oxygen into blood and collects all the waste carbon dioxide and brings to superior vena cava back to auricle. Below, what has traveled gives the oxygen to all the tissues below the body and brings back through inferior vena cava. Remember, aorta brings it to right auricle, means you can see the diagonal connection. Now let's get into the second part. What is it? So here, the first part says the blood goes toward the tissues and returns toward the right auricle. So this diagonal, this movement from the left ventricle to right auricle, that pathway is actually the blood getting to the tissues, giving oxygen, food, nutrients, and taking carbon dioxide waste and returning to the heart. So that particular pathway could be called as, systemic circulation. We name it as systemic circulation. By the way, let's check out what's the next one. The phase 2 is like left ventricle, right ventricle. Okay, so this ventricle, now the impaired blood in this ventricle just goes all the way to the lungs. Lungs are kept here one and here one. You can imagine there's a heart in between the lungs. So it will go to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. Lungs will take all the carbon dioxide and exchange with oxygen, and the oxygenated blood returns toward the left atrium. So you can again see the diagonal connection here. From the right ventricle through the lungs, it comes to left atrium, and that circulation, as it is through the lungs, we call it as pulmonary. So basically, guys, we have two kinds of circulation in our body. One is heart to tissues to heart, this diagonal, that's called systemic, and then next one is heart to lungs to heart, this diagonal, and that's called pulmonary. Okay, so basically there are two circulations, they are systemic and pulmonary, and that's the reason why we say the circulation in human as double circulation. Okay, systemic and pulmonary together called as double circulation. And then when we look into what more details, just how the blood flows and other things, where the lymph formation is there, so many other extra data is there. But this video is just meant or intended to make you understand exactly how, the structure of heart. So let us summarize all the points we learned in few minutes. What are they? We can see 4 chambers of the heart: left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle. Left side is with oxygenated blood, right with deoxygenated blood, and both the sides are separated by septum, and the two left auricle and ventricle is connected by a bicuspid or mitral valve, and right auricle and ventricle is connected by a tricuspid valve. And how to remember tricuspid, I told you before. And then let's go ahead. The blood vessels bringing blood to the left auricle is called pulmonary vein. the only vein which carry what? Pure blood. And the blood vessel taking out the blood from left ventricle outside is called aorta, which has a valve called semilunar valve at the starting. Now the right ventricle takes the blood from the upper part of the body through superior vena cava, lower part of the body through inferior vena cava, and they are the blood which contain carbon dioxide. And then that blood will travel to right ventricle, which is pushed through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, and at the opening there is what one more valve, same like aorta, that's called semilunar valve. When heart, first the phase of the heart working is cardiac cycle is blood slowly entering into left and right auricle. That's the time where auricle is relaxing. Once auricle is relaxing, blood slowly start leaking to what? Right and left ventricle. It's slowly flowing. Once auricle is full, auricle gives a pressure and a push, and with that push, the blood will be forced into left and right ventricle. And when the left blood tries to return, these two valves will close with the sound lub. And then now left and right ventricle undergoes the forced contraction, which makes the blood flows through aorta and pulmonary artery, and the blood trying to return will be closed by the, or not allowed by, the valve, semilunar valve, which closes with a sound called dub. So the heart sound is basically lub and dub. And then how this contraction occurs, and they all are little another level. If you want that, we'll just get into that video later on. And that includes various kinds of nerves called sino-auricular nerve. Okay, so a nervous system is there, which is inside the heart, SA node, AV node, bundle of his Purkinje fibers, like that. So many details are there, which will be discussed later on. By the way, guys, this is just a crude understanding of the concept. Never use this diagram for drawing anywhere in scientific, publications or scientific exams. You can just use this as a part of understanding. But then how to draw the real structure of heart, that's another complicated stuff for the students, I know that. And of course that will be another video after this. Follow, if you like the video, kindly subscribe, follow, press the bell icon, everything. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you, have a good day.